Hey, gorgeous people. I felt very, very passionate about this particular topic simply because it keeps coming up again and again and again in conversations that I'm having with the most beautiful women that are feeling that they're experiencing something like depression, but they know that it's not depression. And I really want to break this down to really help women understand what's actually going on at the deeper level, simply because this is not necessarily recognized through Western medicine. And it can leave people feeling very, very confused about what's going on for them, and certainly very, very confused around their own mental state. And sometimes, there can be that thing of maybe I should, go and get, medication and things like that. I'm not here to say whether you should or whether you shouldn't. That's certainly a conversation to have with your doctor. However, I definitely want to share with you what some of my experiences have been around adrenal fatigue and around what can happen, and particularly around perimenopause as well. So generally, as women are approaching around the early 40s, this can often relate, certainly. And if you have had a lifetime of either pushing yourself, striving, you've done a lot of either athletic type things where you've really, really pushed your body in a big way. It could be that you've worked a lot of shift work. It could be that you have perhaps had a lot of trauma in your life that is either unresolved or still playing out for you in some way, shape or form. So if you're noticing perhaps you're in a codependent relationship, perhaps you notice that you take on extra responsibility, or you're having big challenges in your relationships, not necessarily just your intimate relationship, but if you have a strained relationship with your children, if you have a strained relationship with your parents, or perhaps with friends, or with a boss or a colleague, or you're working extra hours, either shift workers like I mentioned, or just working a lot of hours during the week. And often this can be, entrepreneurs, self-employed people. I certainly relate to that. There's no necessary stop button or, start, stop time. And so often what can actually happen over a period of time is that the body is constantly pumping out like a lot of adrenal or adrenaline into the system, norepinephrine into the system, to be able to cope with the day-to-day stresses. Now, this can happen a lot even for women, if they've had a lot of pregnancies, in a short space of time. So, 2 or 3 pregnancies in 3 or 5 years. That's a huge toll that it takes on the body. And then you couple that with getting up to kids during the night. Again, all of these things can really compound and have us kind of wondering, well, what's going on with me? Why do I feel flat? Why do I feel exhausted? Why can't I just motivate myself? And a lot of women have come to me and said, I just want to get back to feeling like my old self. I used to be able to get in and do all these things, or I used to be able to just, smash through my to-do list. The things that I used to find easy to do, it's just such a struggle now. And this is really essentially the earlier or mid to later stages of adrenal fatigue. And there can be, like I mentioned, all sorts of reasons. Often it's lifestyle things. It can be, suppressing things. It can be working in a job that you absolutely hate, but you feel like you have to do. It is constant resistance in life of, doing something. I once heard the best definition for chronic fatigue, and that's stop doing the things that you chronically hate doing. So if you are an avid people pleaser, hello to everybody jumping on, please say hello or drop me a line, or, even send some hearts if this is resonating for you. And take particular note, if you've got a beautiful woman in your life and this really resonates with her, or you think, oh wow, I wonder whether this is actually what's happening for her at the moment, please share this video, because it is my sole mission to really help women understand, to transform and revolutionize the way that we look at mental health, particularly for women, because a lot of those hormonal issues can also play out from adrenal fatigue as well. And the reason why is that there is a precursor hormone or neurotransmitter, and the body has to make a decision as that is getting processed. It's a precursor, so it can actually get transformed into two different things. It can get transformed into cortisol, or it can get transformed into estrogen or testosterone, depending on whether you're a man or a woman. And so often when we're under high levels of stress, what happens is that keeps getting shuttled into cortisol. Now, cortisol is definitely an absolute requirement for the body. The body needs that, but too much cortisol in the system increases acid, increases inflammation, increases body weight generally, particularly if we're holding a little bit around the waist, or you're finding it really, really, really challenging to lose weight. Often it's because high cortisol levels can often throw out our blood sugar balance. There's a whole cascade of events that actually occurs. Not only that, it can disrupt sleep if your cortisol is raising of an evening when it should actually be lowering. And then sometimes, our whole cortisol pattern can be out, which means that as you're waking up in the morning, you're feeling flat, you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling tired, because those cortisol levels aren't quite where they need to be, simply because the body's been depleted over such a long period of time. And often what I find with clients that have been through this experience, and certainly for myself as well, is when the body might be able to cope, or you might be able to kind of walk a pretty fine line, like it's like, oh, I need to take care of myself, or I need to go to bed. Like, you might be getting some signs or signals, but if you've been under stress or pressure for a long period of time, and certainly huge big shout out to anyone that's a single mum out there, being in that masculine energy, being in protector provider energy constantly. I did it for 10 years myself as well as having my own business. So you couple a couple of things in like that, and then you throw in some of life's challenges that can sometimes come up, like either an illness or a sickness, either yourself or somebody close to you, or a loved one passing away, or a major life event such as even getting married, which would seem like, yeah, that's like an awesome thing. It's still a stress on the system. As well as obviously relationship breakdowns, change of job, loss of finances, all of those different things as well. So it's taking into account that often, the body might be able to cope for a certain amount of time, and then it might take one or two of those events compounded on top of, chronic years of feeling that way. So now you've got acute stress on top of chronic stress. And it really can literally have people going, what the hell just happened to me? When it hits really quite hard, particularly if you've been on the cusp of it for quite a while. You can really just wonder what the hell happened, and just be trying to wake up of a morning and going, oh my God, I just don't want to get out of bed. Your positivity literally goes down the drain. It is so difficult to feel really, really positive when this is playing out, simply because as the body's physical energy is compromised, now that activates a lot more of the ego survival mind. It's kind of like an animal out in the woods. If that animal is injured or compromised in some way, shape or form, is it going to be, chilling and totally relaxing? Or is it going to be super hyper vigilant because now there could be predators, now there could be threats? It needs to be even more alert in order to stay on top of or to be able to protect itself. And so our body does exactly the same thing. The more compromised we are in our physical body, often that adds and exacerbates the adrenal fatigue issues and things going on there as well. So this is why it can often be misdiagnosed or not understood as to what actually really is going on. And often people will say, I feel depressed, but I know that I'm not depressed. And it feels like depression because it is really hard to think positive in that moment. It's really hard to feel good about yourself. And often, when we're feeling that we're not able to function as well as what we normally would, or to get as much done during the day, hey Tals, great to have you on, darling, then that can be a real challenge as well, because now there can be even greater negative self-talk in terms of beating yourself up or feeling bad about yourself because you feel like, oh my gosh, I should be getting more done, or I'm not getting enough done, or I should be helping others more. And often it can be compounding even greater pressure, greater stress in what's going on for you. So when you move out of this, it is so much easier when this is taken care of, when you are no longer in adrenal fatigue or having these symptoms play out for you, then it is so much easier to just, you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's like night and day, guys. When this is playing out, like I mentioned, it's really hard. Just, basic things like getting tea ready or preparing a meal, getting washing done, getting the kids dressed, basic functions that you used to be able to handle really easily, you will find really, really difficult and feel like, you almost need to push through in order to try and get those things done. And it creates, without really understanding what's going on, like I mentioned, it does create a lot of other issues where we lose patience with the kids. Often we can be short, the body can shut down, lose libido, and when I say shut down, as in really get closed off, feel like you've almost got like a concrete wall around you that really nothing or no one can penetrate. And of course that's really damaging for intimate relationship, but also a lot of people find themselves wanting to withdraw, not wanting to socialize, not wanting to really reach out and speak to friends, and having lots of challenges like that as well. So when this is taken care of, you feel like yourself again, you have energy again, getting through your to-do list, having mind clarity, no longer feeling brain fog, feeling excited about your day again, feeling excited to connect with your kids and play and enjoy life again. Get back to laughing again. You'll often find a lot of gut-related issues can be heavily tied into this. So often gut issues really resolve or certainly normalize to some degree. Often there can be a lot of swinging from diarrhea to constipation. Certainly if you are under high degrees of stress and the body keeps going back into that fight-flight response, that can be another thing that really plays out. So, your digestive system normalizes and calms. You will feel like you can actually relax your body. Another thing that a lot of people say to me, I'm tired, exhausted, tired, but also wired. So, that might be, laying there over nighttime, you can't go to sleep even though you are absolutely exhausted. That's when that cortisol level is starting to rise, even though every other part of your body is going, it's time to sleep. So all of these things get resolved. Not only that, you get back to having an amazing, incredible relationship again. You feel like you can really get your energy behind your goals or your life dreams and visions, start to move towards that. You get your health back on track. All of those things get taken care of, and it is much easier to lose weight. Also, when the cortisol levels are lowered and when there's no longer this level of stress. And there's 4 levels that this needs to be taken care of. It needs to be taken care of mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I say spiritually, just from that aspect of self-love, from that aspect of connection to self. And are you actually living your life in a way that feels really good for you? Because often it's those unnoticed things or things that you've gone, I'll deal with that later, I'll deal with that later. They're the chronic stress things. They're the things that have been building over a period of time, that until they're actually really taken care of and you're really living authentically you're not people pleasing, you're not overgiving, you're not feeling over responsibility, all those things, which also goes back into that mental and emotional side, need to be taken care of. Not only that, we need to nail exactly what nutrition needs to be taken care of for you. And it's something that I am very, very passionate about, helping women to really address and to understand within themselves. And this, if this resonates for you, please send me a PM. Send me a message. Let's book a time to chat, because I can promise it does not have to be that way. And it's really heartbreaking, honestly. Like when you are in the crux of that, it is so terrible to be going through that. And often there can be a lot of shame associated with that. Often it can really perpetuate a lot of those self-worth issues as well. And often, we can feel that we don't have anybody to talk to about these things as well. And so having somebody to really be able to discuss this with and to really open up with is one of the most valuable gifts that you can really give yourself. And actually giving yourself permission to ask for help, but also receive help is often the biggest block to resolving some of these things long term, and is one of the reasons why I really strongly encourage you to reach out to me if this resonates for you, or you're like, oh my God, you're literally speaking about me right now. If that really resonates for you, please reach out to me, and let's book in a time to chat and see if and how I might be able to help you. And at the very least, we're going to get the core root of your issues, what's actually generating this, causing this, and work out a how-to plan in terms of moving forward as well. So loads of love to you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. And like I mentioned, if you have somebody, either a sister, a mum, a daughter, or somebody close to you that you know that is a woman that potentially hasn't quite been themselves lately, please reach out, please send them this video, please share this with them. Let's get the information out there so that people can really understand what's actually going on. No, you are not crazy. No, you are not failing. No, you are not enough. It's not any of those things that's actually going on, and all of those things compound and really exacerbate this, and end up leaving so many people going through this feeling really alone and feeling really withdrawn. So let's really, like I mentioned, get that message out. Take care of those that you love. Have a great day. Lots of love to you. Bye.